Good afternoon, this is Lorraine, and we're going to finish up our cards for June now. And this is the fourth card, and it's a nautical theme card. I think you're going to enjoy this one. It has lots of layers. Another good look at it. It has an embossed background here. It has triple ribbons here. It has sponged DSP, and this is watercolor paper, not because we're doing watercolor so much, but because it has a nice texture and it's not pure white and it's not vanilla, so I like the look of it. Anyway, and then we're going to stamp the image and color it. Okay, the materials you need for this card are, you'll need some writing hood red that is cut 5.5 by 8.5 inches and scored at 4 1/4. The fold will be the top of your card. Then you got lots of layers. So the first layer is Night of Navy, cut 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then the next layer, which is just slightly smaller, and I know some of you hate working with 1/8 of an inch, but this is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So it's just going to make a tiny border, 1/8 inch border around this frame. Okay. And you'll run that one through the big shot and dry emboss it. Okay, then the next layer is Night of Navy, cut 3 1/8 by 4 1/8. And the piece of DSP, this is Nautical Expedition DSP from the Summer Mini, is cut 3 inches by 4 inches. So I'm just going to make a tiny border around that. And we'll be sponging the edges of the DSP with Night of Navy ink. Okay, and this is the third layer, and Night of Navy, cut 2.5 by 3 1/4. And Sahara Sand, cut let's see, there's my measurement, 2 3/8 by 3 1/8. Again, a small border. And then Writing Hood Red, cut 2 1/4 by 3 inches. And finally, the watercolor paper, cut 2 inches by 2 3/4. Those are all your layers. Okay. Alright, so the first layer we're going to assemble is our Night of Navy and our Sahara Sand. And I'm not sure if I gave you the dimensions on this one, so let me do that again. This is Sahara Sand, cut 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. Okay. And you're going to run it through your big shot using the tulip. Where's that folder? Frame tulips folder, embossing folder. And once you do that, you get the nice tulip bordered and scallop edged border. And then you can go ahead and adhere that to your piece of navy, and then you're going to use your paper piercer and mat pat to poke holes in the corners right between the tulips. Try to be consistent with where you poke it, and then insert 4 metal brads. In the example card I used the copper ones, but you can use, and I think they're actually, I don't know if you can get copper now, silver or gold or antique bronze. Well, anything like that will work just fine. I'm not going to actually put those in right now. Okay, then the next layer is the next size of navy, and this is what's going to go on here. But first we're going to sponge it with Night of Navy ink. A sponge wedge. If you just hold it up in your hand and brush it away from yourself, it'll pick up the color and adds a little bit of distressing and a little bit of vintage to your card. If you want something more distressed than vintage, you probably could do this to all your layers on this card. I, however, just am doing it on this one layer. Okay, then you can go ahead and attach that with snail, centering it and leaving your very small border. And this is the one that gets the ribbon applied. And for the ribbon effect, we're going to use, and we're centering, 2 pieces of Night of Navy grosgrain, 1/4 inch grosgrain. And you'll dry fit this first. And this is a substitution piece. The piece that is here on the ribbon is the 1/4 inch taffeta ribbon, as it comes from Stampin' Up, and it has kind of a white edge on it, which kind of adds a nice detail. However, I've run out of that particular supply. Got some on order, but it's not here yet. And so what I did is, what your other options can be, is you can dye the white taffeta ribbon, 1/8 inch taffeta ribbon, in the red, so that you get writing hood red, so you get a red ribbon. You won't have the white element, but it'll add some dimension. Okay, you'd attach that with snail. It should be centered, and then you would of course put snail on the back and wrap the ends around and glue them down. Okay, I'm not doing that, but this is going to go in a card kit for someone. All right, so that's layer number 2. And the last layer, layer number 3, you have the navy, you have the Sahara sand, you have the red and the white. Okay, you're going to take the ticket quarter punch and you're going to trim the corners on these top 2 layers. That gives you this kind of detail. Okay, we're going to do that to the red layer as well. Don't want to leave those bits in the corner there, it'll mess up your next corner cut. Sorry for the noise that makes. You don't like tappy noises, that's probably annoying, but it's a necessary evil to get the little bits out. Okay, alright, so this one gets placed, and at this point you can go ahead and use your matte pack. You can glue all those together and then use your matte pack to punch holes in all of the corners and add your next 4 brads to match your other brads. Okay. And then lastly, you're going to take Stazon black ink. If you're going to be doing watercolor, you'll want to do this and let it sit and dry thoroughly before you begin. This one dries pretty fast. It's alcohol based, so it dries pretty fast on your cardstock. Okay, so we've already done that. So we've centered our stamp. This is our stamp that we used, and it comes from the Open Sea stamp set. Let's see if I can do this. Put this up a little bit so you can see the whole thing. The Open Sea, and it has wonderful nautical images on this in this set. So we're using just the ship, but it has a wonderful anchor and the compass and world map and a ship log. So all of those make great backgrounds and stuff too. Okay, and this is clear mount, so it has and so it's inked up and applied. It's easier with the clear mounts to see where you're stamping. Okay. And what I did was I used blender pens. You can color whatever way you want to color. And I used the tap the lid method. I don't know if you've seen this, but you tap the lid, pushing it into the ink pad, and then you open the ink pad and it leaves a remnant of ink in the bottom of the lid so that you can use it for coloring. And you would then pick up your ink with your blender pen and then apply it. And I'm not going to actually do that, but and then you just go like this until it runs clear, and then there's no more ink, even though it might have discolored the tip. If there's clear running, it's not got the color in it anymore to put on anything else. And you can go on to the next color. That's a wonderful thing about blender pens. Okay, so this image, what I did was I colored the sails. Let me close this up so it doesn't dry up. I colored the sails with Blushing Bride ink, and then I highlighted them to make them look like sails in the sunset with Peach Parfait. These are both in colors for 2010-2011. And then I colored the water underneath the Night of Navy. Okay, also should note that I did color the masts. It's a little hard to tell in this image, but I did color the mast with the Peach Parfait as well, and the ship body. Okay, so once you've colored that, and then you can apply it to your third layer, and then put all of your layers together on your card, which I'm not going to do. You know how to put layers together. So here's the first layer with the embossing and the brads, the second layer with the ribbon and the designer series paper, and the third layer with its four layers and the ship. Okay, hope you've enjoyed that.